Do you like thriller books? A good mystery, a good twist, supernatural stuff? Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak, I think that's how you say his name, follows Mallory Quinn, a recovering addict who gets a new job babysitting for a boy named Teddy. Teddy loves to draw, but Mallory starts to notice Teddy's pictures becoming more sinister. So let's talk about what is great about this book, what I think could have been done a little bit better, some spoilers, who I think the book is for, and my overall rating for this book. So what did I like about this book? The author does something very unique in this book that I haven't personally seen myself, where since the book heavily relies on the drawings of this little boy Teddy, he puts drawings in the book. So at the beginning of the book, they are very standard children's drawings. They become more complicated and more sinister as the book goes on, but he puts drawings in the book. There is a part at the end of the book. I know there's a name for it. It's like the opposite of a prologue. Epilogue. There's an epilogue at the end of the book where he talks to the person who drew the pictures for him, and that's a great addition to the book as well. It gives you a little bit more insight into what drawings might have almost made it in, but didn't quite fit the story as well. The book is well written. It was difficult to put down. The mystery draws you in. I wanted to keep going to see what happened. I wanted to see how Mallory handled the stresses of the things that she was seeing and how everything would affect Teddy. Since it isn't really a spoiler, I also love that Mallory just really likes Hallmark movies in this book. I thought it was a funny little thing to put in there. It made her feel just a little bit more human than just the cookie cutter standard female protagonist in a book. Honestly, I don't think I could talk about more positives or any negatives without getting into spoilers, so we are going to immediately hop into that right now. So some spoilers coming up if you want to read this book, but you haven't read the book, I would just skip this part. There will be timestamps on the video. You can skip ahead to who I think this book would be good for, or to my spoiler section, or even the outro if you're really feeling like it. So some more positives before we get into negatives here. Mallory is just a great character. She has a very understandable drug addiction. That is a weird thing to say. I would never advocate for drug addiction, but she got into a car accident where it killed her sister, and she is blaming herself for that accident. She got a dependency on the medicine. She couldn't keep getting a prescription for that pain medication. But you know what does help with pain? Heroin. So she started doing heroin, and that was the backstory of the drug addiction before this book started. Her NA character is also a great character in this book. He helps her get a job at the beginning, seems to fully believe in her, and supports her through their entire story. So the NA guy, I don't remember his name, was an incredible character. I'm just really bad with names, guys. The pictures in the book make it what it really is. As the book continues and after Teddy gets told to stop drawing pictures of Anya, his imaginary friend, the pictures start to become more detailed. It is established that Annie, the ghost that Mallory thinks he is talking to, was a good artist when she was still alive. They check out a book from her library, but the pictures don't really seem to match the same art style. They chalk that up to it being pencil drawings instead of paintings that Annie was known for, but there's a little bit more to it than that. It turns out that the ghost is not Annie, and is in fact an immigrant, and Anya is mother in Hungarian. I know what that is. We will get back to that in a moment though. I do think it is also funny that Mallory has a tattoo of Gritty, the mascot from the Philadelphia Flyers, a hockey team in Philadelphia. This does come up a bit later with Caroline having angel wings tattooed on her. I liked the twist at the end of this book. It was thought that Anya, Teddy's imaginary friend, was a ghost named Annie who had lost her secret daughter. At some point in the book, Mallory does a Ouija board with her neighbor. It seems like they don't get information from it until Mallory realizes that the X's from the Ouija board are pauses in a sentence, and it is in a different language. They break into the neighbor's house to get the paper and learn that she died from an overdose. She had been typing a message to Mallory about how the ghost wasn't Annie. The Ouija board translates to something along the lines of "watch the flowers." Sometime during this, Mallory learns that Annie did not actually go missing and instead just left town with her daughter. She gets in touch with the daughter. It's a very interesting moment in the book because it just fully subverts that expectation that they've been talking to Annie this entire time. After a pool party marking her being fired from her nanny job, Mallory connects the dots. Turns out Teddy was a girl that was abducted by the Maxwell family after Caroline killed her mom. The Maxwells convinced Teddy that she is a boy. I'm sorry, I almost misgendered Teddy. They hadn't been able to conceive, so they moved to a different state and pretended that Teddy was the son. I liked this twist to an extent. This is where we're going to get into negatives. First, I don't understand why the parents had to convince Teddy that she was a boy. They left for a new place where no one knew them. They were able to convince Teddy she wasn't a girl named Flora. They could have just convinced her that she was a girl named something else, like Sarah. Eventually, Teddy would have gotten old enough to connect the dots. As Teddy got older, he would have realized that she doesn't have male genitalia, and it would have destroyed their plan. One of the issues I have with this book is just a common horror trope. For some reason, Mallory confronts the Maxwells in the dead of the night with no weapon. Immediately, they knock her out and intend to kill her. That's probably how that would go. I don't know what she was thinking in that situation. It was also weird that Ted fell in love with Mallory in the book. She is supposed to be an athletic girl and was presumably attractive, but it was a little out of left field. He insists that Caroline is the villain in the book, although he allowed the lie to Teddy, helped dispose of the body, and was just an overall creep. Speaking of love, Adrian wasn't a great love interest. I understand that Mallory was lying to him because she was embarrassed of her past. The biggest issue is I didn't care much about Adrian. He just wasn't that interesting to me. He was a landscaper with rich parents that got along with Teddy. He wasn't a bad character. I just couldn't find myself caring a lot about the love interest side plot of this book. My biggest issue with the book is that it seems like it could be seen as a story where a liberal family forces a child to be trans. The family is stereotypically liberal. They care about eating healthier, don't want religion in their household, and have progressive views about things like sex. The Maxwells kidnap Flora and convince her that she is a boy. Mallory, a recovering addict that found religion, prays to God for help after she is kidnapped, and Ted comes in to free her. Then the ghost takes control of Teddy to kill Caroline after she shot Ted. It suspiciously feels like Christian girl saved child from parents that forced her to be trans. The only thing that could be against this is the revenge plot of an immigrant ghost, but this could still be seen as like some anti-trans propaganda. You always hear a lot of people saying that people are trying to force kids to become trans, and this book kind of reinforces that. I don't want to get too much into the politics of this, but I could just be overthinking this as well. Let me know if you don't think this is right-wing propaganda. I'm not trying to get into politics at all, and it wasn't enough to make the book worse for me at the moment. It just feels weird in reflection. When I was writing this script, I'm like, that's a little odd. I didn't think about that while I was reading it. So who is this book for? If you like a good thriller book, I would recommend it. If you're interested in the idea of pictures mixed into the story, I would also recommend it. If you like a decent mystery, I would read it. If you want a redemption arc of a recovering addict, I would read it. Who wouldn't I recommend this to? Don't read this if you're triggered by drug addiction. If you don't like Ghost, also avoid reading this. Those two things are mentioned a lot in this book. I would go more into detail about things that may be considered before reading this book, but it veers into spoilers, which we just went through. The only thing I can say is that the book could be considered right-wing by some, so if those politics upset you too much to enjoy the book, avoid the book. Overall, I would give the book an 8 out of 10. I loved this book. I devoured the book. I don't read as much as I used to, and I'm trying to get back into it, and this was just a very easy read for me, and it was difficult for me to put down, which is my biggest indicator that the book is solid. I've already recommended it to a few people. I just think it was an overall good book. If you have read the book, let me know what you thought about it. Did you love the book? Were there things that you liked or disliked about the book? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if I'm a little off base with the right-wing propaganda comment. Like I said, I think I might just be overthinking it. Other than that, guys, I hope everybody enjoyed this review. I hope everybody is having an amazing day. And until next time, peace.